Hello everyone, welcome to another rendition of my rapid fire reviews. So I do these when I get a little behind on my movie watching for the year. So these can either be straight to streaming movies that I'm just catching up on now, or movies that came out in the theaters that I missed when they came out, finally got around this chance of watching them. So the four movies that I have today are Peter Pan and Wendy, How to Blow Up a Pipeline, The Covenant, and Air. So yes, without further ado, let me get into these movies. Again, I just give my general thoughts of what I thought worked, what I thought didn't, what I recommended or not, and of course, an overall score of what I think the movie should be around. So again, they're very short, very simple. So yes, let us get into it. So the first film I have today is Peter Pan and Wendy. So of course, this is a remake of the classic story that you know and most likely love because Peter Pan is just awesome in that right. And unfortunately, this movie does not go into that. So the IMDb synopsis of this is follow the adventures of Peter Pan, a boy who does not want to grow up, and how he recruits three siblings in London, and together they embark on a magical adventure on the enchanted island of Neverland. So again, it's your classic Wendy, Peter Pan story. They meet the Lost Boys. They take on Captain Hook. There's TikTok the Croc, all that stuff. What this movie does a little bit differently is it does dive into the lore of Captain Hook a little bit more, and he's played by Jude Law within this movie, who does an honestly decent job in terms of the role. But this movie is very, very geared towards children, and again to this kind of woke audience that Disney Plus is trying to kind of gear towards, where they talk just a lot about just everything that they do in terms of having a diversity within their cast, again to like recasting actors of different races, things like that. It's just really, really in your face in a way that doesn't feel natural, doesn't feel organic. And I know that's something that's turned a lot of people off within this movie. And again, too, just the way that it's in your face makes it feel not real, not realistic, even though this is in Neverland and whatnot. It's definitely wasn't the best choice for the dialogue for, again, to the characters going forward, because it just makes it not about the tale, the characters themselves. It really, really takes you out of it. A lot of the dialogue is very, very corny. The special effects in this movie are not great, and kind of what I've noticed about these straight to streaming Disney Plus movies in the last little while is that the set designs are so uninspired and boring to look at, and yeah, it's just it really feels like they're not. Same thing with the Pinocchio movie. Just a lot of the times, everything is just so bland and it's so hard to get into. I'm hoping that maybe Peter Pan can get the Guillermo del Toro treatments like they did with Pinocchio, aside from what they did again too with the Pinocchio film that came out on Disney Plus last year around this time too, I believe. So yeah, this is definitely one of the worst renditions of the Peter Pan story that's everyone knows. So I can't really recommend it too much. All that being said, though, it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. It just truly is nothing special. The acting is not great. The music's not great. The set design isn't great. The story fumbles in so many places. The CGI is god awful, but I'm still going to give it a 5 out of 10, which might be a little more generous than most people are going to, but it's not that bad as a lot of people are making it out to be. So the next film I have is How to Blow Up a Pipeline. This one comes in at an hour and 45 minutes long, and it is about a crew of environmental activists who plot a daring plan to disrupt an oil pipeline. It's again to just a group of well, lots of people from different backgrounds who have all either they feel they have been, they want to fit in, things like that, that you just feel like they've been cheated by their governments, by corporations. A lot of them have very different, again, to motivations for being here to blow up this pipeline. And again, to just seeing the ways that all of their personalities clash with one another is something that was just absolutely really, really great. I know this is based off of a book of the same name, but the one thing I really, really like about this is every single character, you get to explore their background, explore what this mission means to them, and it just does a really, really good job fleshing out all of their characters, and does it in a way that's very, very intense. It feels very, very grounded and real. The only thing that kind of, or the only one scene that kind of took that away from me is there's one scene where two people are, it almost seemed like a Tom and Jerry distract them, have the oil workers go one way while the other one cuts the chain on the fence and gets into where like the main pipeline, the main source of the oil is. That part just felt a little unrealistic to me, but for the most part, this movie is very, very emotional and grounded and intense in so many ways. And again, too, the one thing I love is just having all these people so different and completely flushed out by the end of the movie. Being able to again see all their backstories, and again too, even though they're there for the same reason, their identities, their beliefs, all of that still clash with one another in so many ways that makes them question what they're doing is just and whatnot. So it is a very, very well written story with very, very rounded and grounded characters. The acting isn't great. The directing isn't anything top notch for the most part. It is extremely low budget, but again, too, so was their plan to do this all. So it works in a lot of ways. And overall, I'm gonna have to give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. Very, very intense. It's very, very well done. I think the ending leaves things just way too open for a lot of the characters by the end of this movie. Again, so it can get predictable at points too, which can take away points from it. But honestly, it is a very, very good movie, very, very grounded, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Next film I have is Guy Ritchie's latest. This one comes in at just a little over 2 hours long, and it is known as The Covenant. So this one stars Jake Gyllenhaal, and this movie, it's really hard to go over the plots or even give you the IMDb synopsis without spoiling the movie. But during the war in Afghanistan, a local interpreter risks his life to carry an injured sergeant, being Jake Gyllenhaal's character, across miles of grueling terrain. And after all of that, he is denied a visa. So Jake Gyllenhaal's character has to go back to Afghanistan to make sure that he gets out for, again, saving his life, and he has to privately fund this mission. So this movie is really, really well done. I don't think it's one of Guy Ritchie's best movies, but it's very, very intense. It's directed really, really well for most of the movie. The soundtrack that he uses is very, very well done too, and it gets very intense. And I felt like too the action sequences were really, really real and really, really grueling in a lot of ways. It shows how treacherous the landscape is. It shows how treacherous the politics of the area are. And again, too, the one thing I really liked about this movie is just showing again too just all the different factions and groups of people and beliefs within Afghanistan itself. Again, to the interpreter was the most incredible part of this movie, and just seeing again to his family life was really, really well done. Again, too, while I found a lot of the action and stuff like that was very, very grounded and very entertaining to watch, sometimes it could be a little bit too stylish when I felt like a grittier take would have done this movie a lot better in a lot of ways. Um, Again, so it's a movie about the American military, so it is going to be very, very stylish. In points, I kind of accepted that. So going into it, and especially near the end of this movie, is when it's definitely goes that very, very stylistic Hollywood take, which makes it very, very entertaining. But I felt like the story needed to be a lot more gritty and just a lot more dark in a lot of ways to truly encapsulate what this story is supposed to be about. All that being said, though, incredible action, incredible acting, and just a very, very amazing story again too about a covenant, a brotherhood, a bond, and just a sense of responsibility for again to just taking care of one another to again stop a greater force of evil, to make certain everyone's compensated for their efforts and whatnot. It does a really, really good job at that. And then going to Guy Ritchie is, I've recently really got into his movies. I didn't realize how many things he's directed and how many of his projects I just absolutely love. And I can easily add this to that list of movies I really, really enjoyed. And I do highly have to recommend it. It was way better than I thought it was going to be in so many ways. And with everything taken together, I'm going to have to give The Covenant an 8 out of 10. Highly recommend it. It's really, really good. I do hope that it can stay on my top 10 movies for the year. It's pretty high up there so far. I'm not going to spoil its place, but definitely go out and check out The Covenants. It's very, very well done. Now, the last movie I have is Air. This one is directed by Ben Affleck, stars Jason Bateman, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and it comes in at about an hour and 50 minutes long. This movie follows the history of shoe salesman Sonny Vaccaro, played by Matt Damon, and how he led Nike in its pursuits of one of the greatest athletes in the history of basketball, Air Jordan, and the production of the Air Jordan line of shoe. So again, so a lot of this movie is them competing with Adidas, them competing with Converse to be the basketball shoe of the world against who they beat these guys out, and they bank everything on Michael Jordan. They have a budget of $250,000 that they're supposed to spread between 3 to 4 players. They bank that all on Michael Jordan, and they have to win over the family's decision in order to move along with this. And again, too, they have to go against the board. They have to go against Adidas. They have to go against Converse, who has so much money, so much power, and were definitely dominating the basketball era at the time of, again, too, before Michael Jordan entered into the NBA. So the acting in this is really, really well done. You have amazing performances by Viola Davis. As always, kills it, knocks it out of the park. She plays Michael Jordan's mother. And Matt Damon was fantastic. Jason Bateman has a small role, but it's a very, very good role. Ben Affleck does a very, very good job too. Again, a smaller role, but the main stars here are definitely Matt Damon and Viola Davis. Easily some of the best acting I've seen from Matt Damon in a long, long while, and it's a performance that I really, really liked of his in this one. This movie is extremely funny and witty and just has really sharp and good dialogue that, again, too, keeps you entertained and sucked in through the entirety of this movie, but also too just does a really, really good job. Again, too, we all know the symbol of Air Jordan. Everyone knows the story of Air Jordan, how successful that line of shoe is and how much money it makes. But even though you know all this history, you're so excited to, again, too, from the performances and the pacing and everything that they did within this movie. You get so excited to see all of that happen in real time and go through the emotions that these characters, these people went through during the time. And again, too, it's extremely witty. There were so many times where my partner and I were laughing out loud through this movie, and we just thought it was absolutely great. Very, very entertained, very, very well done. Again, too, it can't really keep you guessing because we all know the history, but it's a really, really good biopic. Yeah, amazing choice of music too. It's just really, really entertaining and one of the better biopics I've seen in a long, long time. I know a lot of people might say that it's very, very dry. They should have showed more basketball, should have actually shown Michael Jordan, because they just show the back of the actor. They don't actually show his face. There must be some sort of licensing rights within it, but I really, really liked it. It has a really good tributes to, again, to everyone involved within this movie and everyone involved, again, too, with the production of Air Jordan at the end of this movie that I thought was very, very good. But it's a history that was awesome, made for a very, very good corporate movie. And again, too, there's you get to see all sides, the good, the bad of, again, too, just having to market a shoe, having to market someone, and again, to having to even go up against your own business at times. So it's very, very well done. I'm going to have to give Air an 8 out of 10. Highly recommend it, and it's easily going to be one of the better biopics that comes out this year. So if you've seen any of these 4 movies, please let me know what you thought of them in the comments down below. And of course, if you like these reviews, definitely give it a thumbs up. You can check out everything I do on the channel through my playlist down below, and I'll link some on the top here for convenience sake. Thank you for subscribing, turn that little ringer on so you know when I upload new videos. If you want to check out the description of this video in my channel bio, there's a link to the Media Mountain, which is my Discord where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, pretty much everything that's awesome in this world. So you can definitely join that amazing community. I'll make it even more amazing than this already. And yeah, just awesome, guys.